Sad times around here, Chase, with a dislocated thumb, and we don't really know. They haven't talked about surgery yet. They're being vague other than doubtful for Sunday against the Raiders. If I tell you as a quarterback, dislocated thumb on throwing hand, what insight can you give into what Justin Fields is dealing with here?
Well, it's the only thing that he needs to throw the football is his thumb, the grip strength. I mean, right? That's the whole thing they said about it. So, I'm already surprised that they didn't rule him out. I mean, I can't imagine in any world where it's not going to be like 3 to 6 weeks without him, because that's the biggest thing. I mean, I heard reports that it was completely dislocated. They had to pop it back in. He even tried to grip a football. I mean, I fractured my thumb right above the joint in 2011, and I didn't get casted. I had a brace on it, but I couldn't touch. Now, this is fracture, but it was very, very slight fracture. I couldn't touch a football for 6 weeks without screaming, trying to grip the ball. I mean, it's impossible to me. So it's not looking good. It's not a good prognosis for Bears fans at all.
If you were in Justin Fields' position, Chase, and let's say the choice was surgery and have it completely healed, or rehab it and be able to come back and not be sure, what would you do at this point if you were Justin Fields?
Yeah, that's a great question. At the end of the day, the player is responsible for his overall health, right? Like I was part of the NFLPA for a long time, and there's always been a lot of discourse between the team and the player. Ultimately, like at the end of the day, I've been on teams where they really do care about your player health and safety, and I've been on teams where they just want you to get back as soon as possible. My advice to him after getting a multiple options would be probably just to listen to the doctors. And I would guess, I'm not sure if you need surgery for a dislocated thumb, but my guess would be like, hey, make sure you're 100% fully ready to go back into the game before you injure. I mean, it's such a weird injury. People are like, oh, dislocated thumb. Okay, it doesn't seem too bad, but like, I mean, literally it's the one like thumb. You need that thumb to throw the football. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or but about it. So if I had my druthers, I would say, hey, take as long as you need. Let's see what we got in the backup and see what else we can do. It doesn't look like playoffs are a possibility right now. So you sort of got to just see how it heals. Everyone's different.
So you said you had teams that cared about you and teams that, tried to rush you back. Where did the Bears fall on that spectrum?
I thought the Bears with when I was there, it was Andre Tucker. I thought he was great. I thought Nagy was great. I thought that Ryan Pace was great. And it was always like, hey, we want to make sure we always want to give you a chance at a second opinion. We always want to give you a chance at a third opinion. Here's what we think. Here's what we're going to do. But obviously, like, consult with your agent. And nowadays, it's so much out of the team's hands in terms of these players have gotten smart. They've understood that, hey, their agents, most of them are working for them. There's a lot, for the most part, there's a lot better doctors outside of NFL teams. That's a whole nother issue we could do a whole show on, because I was a part of the PA. I think the Bears have a good, really good doctor team and everything that they bring to the field with them. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a guy's career, right? Like this is his moneymaker. It's his arm, it's his hand, it's his fingers, it's his thumb, everything that goes into it. So you better damn be sure that you are 100% healthy when you go out there, because there's always a risk for a re-injury. And also you're going to get a chance to get smoked out there as well. So it's just, there's so many different factors that go into it. It's like, oh, it's just a dislocated thumb. Let's just go back out there and play the game. That's not the situation right here at all.
The opportunity to talk to Chase Daniel is one that we relish, because we're trying to figure out when Justin is in the game. And now it'll be when Tyson Bagent is in the game. How much is the player? How much is the scheme and the coordinator? What did you think of the game plan that Justin Fields was tasked with executing against the Vikings on Sunday?
Listen, I said it last week when I came on the show, was it's going to be interesting to see how the Chicago Bears deploy their package against this blitz-heavy Brian Flores defense. And from the first play of the game, guys, we're in empty protection. We're in empty formation, 5 wide, and he just gets absolutely smoked. Like, to me, it's like, what are you doing? Like, they're going to be a pressure package. You have five blockers. And Justin knows that at the end of the day, it falls on the quarterback to get the ball in their hands. But why in the world are you starting an empty versus a 6-man pressure team that they're pressuring like 48% of the time, which is easily the most in the National Football League, and everyone wants to break down that play and what happened. And I just think you had a running back all the way outside DJ Moore, and I think he just ran the wrong route. He ran a hitch route. I mean, I looked at that play over and over and over. DJ Moore breaks out. I've never seen a hitch and a little stick route where you break out before. I think it was just a mental error by the running back.
On the first play of the game, someone ran the wrong route in the scripted plays.
That's what it looked like to me. I mean, that's literally what it looked like to me, because when they motioned out, when they got an empty, I'm like, okay, most teams like to do that, but it's a different type of cover zero. A lot of people like realize and see when they hear cover zero, it's man-to-man. No, this is a completely different defense. Go back and watch the Chargers game versus them. They had all sorts of things. Everyone on the defensive side of the ball for the Minnesota Vikings, they're staring at Justin Fields. Go back and look at it, every single one. So it's a read through the quarterback cover zero. So they're route reading routes, right? So as soon as number 2 breaks out, this corner sits and the safety goes over top for the running back. Well, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. The running back just sat down. I've never seen that play concept before, unless they have something that I don't know. But to me, it looked like he should have gone outside.
Great.
So a quarterback is frozen then at that point. Does that explain why Justin just hangs in there and takes a sack instead of hitting somebody on a hot route because he's seeing weird stuff?
That's exactly right. I mean, when you give a quarterback something else than he's used to seeing, especially a young quarterback, you're going to freeze. I've done it before. A lot of people do it before, because you need 10 other players on the field, especially when stakes are high against a pressure heavy defense like that. You need 10 other guys on the field at the same time doing the exact same thing, because the error, like there's so much more room for error when you're blitzing.
So we knew they were going to blitz a ton. They did blitz a ton. And the Bears, you would think, would have an advantage with maybe the most mobile quarterback in the NFL, and he'd have had success with moving over the pockets. But then he was very stationary. Why did they not move the pocket more intentionally and more frequently?
Well, I don't know. It just probably wasn't part of their game plan. I mean, look, it sounds good on paper to continually move the quarterback left and right, but sometimes I know after a few times in a game, it's like, all right, they're going to move the pocket, and if they're throwing right, that's the only part of the field he can work. I mean, very rarely do you see a quarterback sprint out to the right and throw back to the left, so it cuts the field in half. So I didn't mind that they didn't do that. When I go back and actually study, I think I broke down 12 or 13 plays in the first half, because that's when Justin was playing. I thought that the offensive line and the running backs on multiple occasions were on the absolute wrong page when it comes to pass protection. And when it happens like that, it spooks quarterbacks. There was many a times where he saw a white jersey just right down the A gap, right down the middle of the A gap, and he just couldn't do anything. I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, that's how he injured his thumb when he was scrambling out to the left. They had a little TE game, a little twist game, and there's no one there for him. It was bad ball from protection standpoint.
On that play where he got injured, though, right? They showed like they were going to bring 7. And then dropped it, and they only, brought 3, and then he escapes and kind of pitches it out late and falls awkwardly. I mean, isn't that on him for holding the ball so long and then falling weird?
I mean, on that one, it looked to me that they had, like, it was 8 up across, right? It was 8 up across, and they ended up dropping 8, which is wild to me. So it gave a pre-snap look. You can actually see him alerting to something else. It gave a pre-snap look of something else. And he had Darnell Mooney right down the middle, right? But it's always interesting to me because you're not quite sure when teams bail out. Is it going to be cover 2? Is it going to be cover 3? Is it going to be cover 1? And they've shown a whole bunch of stuff. So I think it just confused him a little bit. And then on that one, he was holding the ball. I was talking about a different play. I should have clarified that. But on that one, for sure, they're rushing 3. Eventually, you got to get rid of the ball. But even with them rushing 3, they have 5 blockers plus a running back, and they were still able to give up the pressure.
Okay.
Chase, it's very often a case, and certainly has been in our Bears life, where the starter is the toolsy prospect who you're hoping can learn the nuances of the quarterback position, and the backup is the guy who knows how to execute the game plan and gets the ball out quick. Archetype. Feels like we're there again. Were you the guy who knows how to execute the game plan and gets the ball out fast? Was that you?
I mean, look, I always prided myself on when I was in there running the offense just as good or better than the starter. Everywhere I've been out, that's always been my mindset. So although I might not have had the skills of the other starters, I always wanted to pride myself on running the offense to the best of my ability.
All right. So, and in that scenario, are there times when an offensive coordinator or offensive assistants or the head coach even can fall in love with the idea of what you or that archetype can bring because it'll help the offensive coordinator achieve their vision as opposed to the toolsy guy who's developing and is a little bit more of a wild card?
I don't know. That's such a interesting question because I've been at places where it's been both, and I think that when I, at least speaking from my experience, when I played under Nagy, we ended up putting stuff in during the week that we may have I was really comfortable with back in KC that maybe Mitch wasn't super comfortable. So I think in general, all offensive play callers, coordinators, if you're a head coach calling plays, you want to put your quarterback in the position to be the most comfortable and make the most plays. And for these small amount of games that they've done that, Justin's played really well. I just didn't love the game plan on Sunday.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like what their default is to tailor it to what he does. You've been in so many interesting situations. Have you been in a situation where the starter was not the choice of the head coach, but he's trying to get the most out of it? Those kind of conflicted times where the guy might not be the choice from the man in charge.
Yeah, honestly, I've never been a part of that, and I'm really glad that I haven't been a part of it because if the starter isn't the choice, it would have been me, and I would have been put in a very awkward situation. So it doesn't mean that I never wanted to play because I always did, but I've always been a part of really good teams, really good franchises, and for the most part, at least on the outside, maybe not internally in some of those head coach GM meetings, but I've always been on that team where everyone just gets along pretty good.
So why didn't it work out with Mitch?
Well, that's a whole nother show that we don't have time for today.
we got plenty of time, actually.
Listen. I thought Mitch, coming into the league, in my first year with him, the year we went 12-4, I thought he played outstanding. I thought that Nagy got him to play up to his ability and to bring his level of play really high up. Right. And then in 2019, we sort of took that regression step back. And honestly, I blame that 2019 on, and you're seeing it. This is a good topic because you're seeing it in today's NFL. There's starters that are playing in the league that are banged up. That year, Mitch Trubisky, his shoulder, he probably should have had surgery. Like, it was bad, dude. Like, the dude had no range of motion whatsoever, ended up having surgery. I know it's his left shoulder, but you look at last night's game. Okay. Justin Herbert versus Cowboys. I thought Justin Herbert probably played not his worst game, but close to it in terms of accuracy throwing the football.
Yeah.
It's his left finger. Okay. It's his left finger. People are like, that has nothing to do with throwing the football. Did you see how many times he was landing like this or barely trying to protect that hand? I'm telling you, whether it's mentally, emotionally, psychologically, it has something to do with your psyche.
So, all right, we'll do a separate show all the time, and we'll dig deep into the 2018 and 2019 Bears. But what you said you scouted the first half. What did you think of Tyson Bagent if you watched it?
I watched a few plays. He's got an interesting motion to him. Like he's got like that almost like sling, the fast twitch type motion. I'd never seen him. Honestly, I'd never seen the guy throw in my entire life, and I came away. I don't know if impressed is the word, but for an undrafted rookie free agent to come in and move the ball a little bit, like it's good. Especially, I mean, like the dude, first of all, the dude got no reps during the week. And this is the week of any week that you want to make sure you have the reps because you know they're going to be heating you up. And honestly, like, I don't even blame him. Like Bears fans might, I don't even blame him on the strip sack that Jordan Hicks took back to the house because they completely go back and look at that play. Okay. It was a 6-1 alignment. They let the left DN and left 3 tech go, or the left 3 tech just go. Like they fanned out, which means the left tackle went out to the linebacker and the left guard went out to the D end, and the running back went like he was supposed to block the linebacker. And then the 3 technique goes right through. He makes a miss. And as he's trying to throw, up goes the ball. So like I said, it just was a little bit of a shit show in terms of like protection, blocking, running back, O-line play.
My man is Not YouTube. We're gonna, but it's okay with the old S show bomb there. But that's how we feel watching the Bears weekend.
Let's understand what the rules are. Let's do it the right way. Let's still have fun.
Thank you, Coach Nagy. Thank you. Okay, so like if I told you that they say Tyson Bagent processes a lot of information, gets the ball out quick,
sees the field,
has a quick release. With what you know about Luke Getsy, what would you expect this to look like against the Raiders on Sunday?
Well, they better run the football, and he's got enough wiggle in his system that he can continue to run some quarterback runs. I don't know if you're going to like live in that. Block it. Honestly, this offense might go back to the under center play action that we saw the first couple weeks and make some plays, or it might just say, hey, look, I've been with coaches, and a lot of times coaches are just like, hey, just run the offense, So we'll see. I mean, it's going to sound weird, but it's in the favor of the Bears because the Raiders have no clue what to prepare for, no clue what they're going to end up doing. And I think it'll be an interesting game plan. I mean, obviously you have to go in saying, hey, like, be a game manager. And then if we need you to make plays down the line, then go do it.
Chase, Cody Whitehair really struggled snapping the ball in the shotgun and then was replaced midway. And the coach said he wouldn't admit that it was about the snaps, which was really quite entertaining, frankly. And we think it was kind of a flat out lie. What happens to a quarterback when every snap is different and chaotic?
Well, listen, I love Cody. Like Cody's one of my buddies, and yeah, it was just unfortunate because you see a guy out there, and I'm not going to use the YIPS word, but it almost looked like toward the third or fourth or fifth one, it almost looked like he had him, and it's just unfortunate, but it definitely throws you off your spot. Like I've always been like. And then this is going to sound crazy and weird, but I've always said, like, why can't a center, and I know that he's doing 1,000 things, and I'm not talking about Cody Whitehair, but I've been with some centers who can put the ball, like Cam Newton center, when he was playing football, he could put the ball right on his right chest every single time. So if you're the quarterback, you get an extra half second to look at the defense and see. Obviously, when the snaps aren't there, you're trying to go crazy, you're trying to go, and then obviously it's going to ruin some plays, but your eyes are off the defense. So it is, like I said, much more difficult to play quarterback in that position.
I like that Chase Daniel will say S show on the radio, but won't say yips.
Yeah, he won't say.
I like it.
Well, because it's like it's a terrible thing to happen to a nice person if that's what's happening.
Yeah, sure.
Right,
Yeah.
Chase. I mean, it's like, but that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
Chase knows everybody.
Of course he does. Last thing, really, and this is big picture, and this is not film review stuff, but it is the world that we're living in here, and Bears fans are living in. It feels, Chase, like it's over for Justin in Chicago because they have their shot at the number one pick, Carolina's shot at the number one pick. He has not played well enough consistently to stack those games, and now he's got this 3 to 6 week injury. So then if he comes back, when he comes back, there won't be much time left to stack a bunch of games together. I'm wondering if that sort of calculus that we're doing from outside of the building feels correct and rational to you as someone who's been inside the building.
I would say that now that I am outside of the building, it's not irrational to think that at all. I think that when you are in the building, you have blinders on, right? And you are just so focused on this next day. Tomorrow is Wednesday. They're going to be installing base. Thursday's third down. Friday's red zone. Saturday's walkthrough. Sunday play. Let's do it again. And so you're so involved in that you can almost lose sight on the big picture of things. And honestly, like players that get into the big picture have never been great at that. And so I do think it's a great question that I can't answer, but it's definitely something I'm sure Ryan Poles and company are thinking about quite a lot here lately.
Chase Daniel, the Chase Daniel Show on YouTube. He breaks down the film. You excited to watch Tyson Bagent?
I am. I think it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to get, especially if he puts on a show. We'll talk about him next week.
All right,
for sure.
We'll talk about it. That makes one of us. Thank you, Chase.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
all right.